Well, most of us have lived in an apartment at some point. How would you like to own an apartment complex? That could come true. Just up ahead on the Jeff Crilley Show, we'll be talking to the apartment king. That's next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team. And the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, during the pandemic, a lot of people are diversifying. They're not all in on stocks. They're looking for other smart investments. And to talk about that today, Brad Sumrok, he is the apartment king. As you're known, you're an award-winning speaker, author, coach, and your company is called Apartment Investor Mastery. Thank you for coming on the show.
I'm really excited to be here today, Jeff.
Well, you have a wonderful backstory, and I want to begin with that because you haven't done this your whole life.
I haven't. Like so many people out there, my parents encouraged me to study hard, get good grades, go to college, save my money, put it in 401ks and IRAs. And I did all that. I studied engineering, and then I went back to school and got an MBA. But I never got quite to where I wanted to be financially. Well, first of all, financially. Also, my level of fulfillment wasn't there. And so back in 2002, I read a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And many people may have heard that book by Robert Kiyosaki, and that changed my life. And that encouraged me and inspired me to go out and become a business owner, which ultimately led me to apartment investing.
Okay, tell me about the first deal you did.
Wow, the first deal I did was a 32-unit apartment building. And people were like, wow, you went from having no investment experience to going from 0 to 32 units. Don't you have to start off with single family or maybe a duplex or a fourplex or house hacking? And you don't, and I'm proof of that. So you don't need to start small and somehow graduate. You could start with bigger and bigger apartment deals. And now I'm helping my clients, which I refer to as students, buy 100, 200 unit buildings on their first ever real estate acquisition.
Yes, and there are a lot of pitfalls, so people do need a coach like you to steer them through some of those landmines. What are some of the pitfalls that people can experience if they don't do their homework?
Well, there are a lot, and that's one of the things that we specialize in, is helping people avoid those common pitfalls. So one could just be overpaying for the property, because the easiest way to buy an apartment building or any type of real estate investment for that matter is to be the highest bidder. So we teach how to do the proper analysis, the proper underwriting is what we call it in the industry.
Sure.
So how do you do that, and how do you raise the money, and how do you get the debt? You know, let's say for example you want to buy a $5 million property. You're looking at over $1 million in down payment and a $3 or $4 million loan. So we have proven tools and strategies to help people overcome those obstacles.
Yes, and you've helped countless people become independently wealthy. There's a great video on your website. Let's go ahead and roll that now.
I've been with Brad Sumrok's personal mentoring program for more than a year. With that short period of time, I was able to sponsor a deal myself, 4 deals, 450 doors. I was also able to invest in 7 other deals as passive, more than 1,000 doors.
I've been in Brad Sumrok's group for about 3.5 years. To date, I've done 3 deals worth about $35 million, resulting in about 500 apartment units.
I've been in Brad Sumrok's group for 3 years, and I've sponsored a total of about 250 units.
I've been a student in Brad's program for 6 years, and I have syndicated one deal, and I'm a partial owner in 10 properties, apartment communities, totaling just about 1,600 apartment units.
Been in Brad Sumrok's group for 4.5 years. I've invested in 2,250 units.
I've been in Brad Sumrok's apartment program for 1 year, and I've invested in 310 units.
Been a part of the Brad Sumrok program for a little under half a year. And in that time, I have participated or invested into 3 apartment deals totaling for about 400 doors.
Closed 2 deals in the last year and a half, and we're looking for our third.
Over the last 2 years from when I joined the group, I've been able to invest in over 900 units. We've individually bought 172 units, and the rest of those units were passively invested in.
I've been in Brad's group for 5 years now. I've syndicated 1,000 doors, which is 7 apartment complexes over that period, and I'm invested in 6,500 doors.
I joined Brad's group in July 2016. I didn't have any previous experience before that. From that time, I've invested in 3,377 units altogether. All in all, 20 properties.
I've been a Sumrok personal mentoring student for 5.5 years, and we're actually closing on our second deal as active deal sponsors here on the 31st of July, the Oaks of Jane Lane. We just owe such a debt of gratitude to Brad and Jennifer for the impact they've had on our lives and the ability to now close on 2 deals and be passives in another 7.
I became Brad's personal student about 2 years ago, and as of last month, I have 1,100 units.
Last year, I joined Brad's program. Next month, I will close on my first 72-unit property in Houston, Texas.
I've been with Brad Sumrok for 5 years, and I've syndicated multiple deals and invested in thousands of units.
Well, that's very impressive, and I think it's fairly recession-proof because people have to live someplace, and especially if you pick the right market. And DFW, there's not a hotter market in the country, is there?
DFW is the #1 market right now, and has been over the past several years for job growth, population growth, which are 2 of the drivers that really determine what makes a good market for apartments. It's also landlord and business friendly. And we're very strong in DFW. I'll just say we dominate DFW. We're very strong in Texas and other landlord and business friendly markets outside of Texas as well.
Yes, you're also the guy that the media calls when they need information on real estate. We've got a little clip from Channel 8 that we're going to play while you kind of narrate for us. It's got to feel good to go on TV and give advice and open up people's eyes that there are other things that you can invest in than stocks and bonds.
Yeah, so this was that guest there. This is obviously my wife and I, and then our guest, Crystal Thomas. Mm-hmm. Crystal is a mother. She's got 2 twins. Her husband has a conventional job, and she became our student and headed up the apartment investing activities for their family. And as a result, within a few short years, she became financially independent of their job. And she now works for us as she loved our mission so much, and we've helped her become financially independent. So now she actually joined our team. Wow. So that's pretty cool. And just talking about resilience and recession-proof, the apartment sector, or also referred to as the multifamily sector, has been one of the most resilient investments during the pandemic. Unlike office, retail, hotels, restaurants, multifamily has remained very resilient, and it's where a large percentage of my personal net worth is in apartments, and it's not in the stock market.
Sure. And you've got to feel good helping people achieve financial independence. I mean, especially when you see them in they're nervous about that first deal, and then you meet them a year or 2 later, and they are sitting on, a number of doors and just smiling, right?
That's actually my passion, Jeff. It's so fulfilling because I'll never forget how frustrated I was after spending, ultimately it was 17 years in corporate America, but I got into apartments after about 14 years, and within 3 years of investing in apartments, I was able to walk away from, just like you did, back in 2008, and then launch this business that you're passionate about. So my passion is not only buying apartments, but it's actually teaching and helping other people buy apartments, because I know how much it did for me and my wife. And now We have over almost 200 documented millionaires, meaning almost 200 of our students have increased their net worth by over $1 million by investing in apartments following our proven systems.
That is so exciting, and I have had a chance to meet your lovely wife. You guys are absolutely a power couple. I know one of the things you're very passionate about is giving back in charity. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, we used to have a goal to pay $1 million in taxes because I felt like if you were ultra successful, you'd be paying a lot of money in taxes. And not to be politically incorrect, but apartments is also a great tax advantaged investment, unlike the stock market. So it's actually, you know, and there's a famous politician that was our president and still is at the time of this recording that didn't want to release his tax returns, right? Because he paid virtually no taxes, but it's true. And when you own a lot of real estate, you get amazing depreciation benefits. So you could potentially offset a lot of earned income.
Yes.
So it's an amazing tax advantaged opportunity as well.
Outstanding. Well, we're almost out of time, so any final thoughts?
Well, I'd just love to thank you for being on the show. If people want more information, they can go to my website.
Absolutely. Let's put that up on the screen right now. And it's bradsumrok.com is the website, and we see your 12 Days of Christmas giveaway. Before we leave, give us a little bit on the philanthropy piece. You and your wife do give back to the community.
Yeah, and thank you for, I was going down a tangent there, but when we learned how to save big on taxes, instead of paying $1 million in taxes, we now have a goal to donate $1 million to charity.
Wow.
So we, to be honest, in the beginning, all I wanted to do was be financially independent, and I never thought I could afford to give money to charity. That was just my mindset. And so we found a charity that we became very excited about. We buy wheelchairs for people mainly in developing countries. It's $150 for a wheelchair. And we do a dollar for dollar match. So any of our seminar attendees or students that contribute, then we match it dollar for dollar. And to date, I think we have given over maybe around $250,000 to that charity, and it's impacting thousands of lives.
That is amazing, and you're such an inspiration to us, and thank you for coming on the show and sharing your wisdom.
Oh, thank you, Jeff. It's been a lot of fun.
You bet. And that's it for now. We'll see you next time.